So, oh, good to see you, Samantha. We just really actually started for real. I will get you put down here for class. Thank everyone. I would like to thank everyone for showing up. This is the last week 4 of business math. Last Zoom class, although not the last time. I will be helping you guys. You have the rest of the week, so please use me as needed. I saw some emails and whatnot that we had a lot of questions. So anybody who wants to get started, let's just jump right into it, and I will do my best to help you guys out. Oh, there we go. All right, everybody should be able to see my screen. It's over. All right, so what do you guys got? I am ready when you are.
Can you go over the quiz for chapter 9?
Chapter 9 quiz? Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, chapter, are there any specific problems you had in that one?
1 second. I'm about to go look at it.
Okay.
I just knew I was
Alexis,
having trouble with it.
okay, no problem. Alexis, nope, yeah, just whatever you need me to do to help you out, let me know.
Nope, it wasn't a specific one. It was mainly just all of it.
Just all of it, okay. All right, everybody want to do a few of these and let's look and see what's going on. All
Yeah.
right, so let's talk. Number 9 was payroll. Probably the worst time I would think you would have would be number 1, going through the charts for figuring out federal income tax, right? Anybody have an issue with that? See if I can find one here. Now, like the
I'm pretty sure it was 12.
12,
Not 12, then maybe 13. It's 13. I'm sorry.
13, yeah. Okay, so that is one here. Now, the way 13 here works, some of the information is just given to you, right? You can just put in the name, they tell you if they're married, they give you the social security number, and they tell you how many allowances there are. Okay. We also know that they give you the rate for federal income tax, Social Security, Medicare, state income tax, and state disability. Okay. So we know that federal income tax is 6.2% on the first 128,400. So if you make 128,000, less than 128,400 a year, they're going to take it out every month. There's another problem in here where they say they year to date they made $144,000, and how much do they make And okay, it says she thinks it's 14. That how much do they pay in Social Security? Well, if they've already reached the $128,400 cap, then after that point, they don't pay anything in Social Security, right? So that was kind of a little tricky one. So the answer to that one was 0. But we have for Social Security, we have 6.2%. Medicare is 1.45%. And then they give a state income tax at 2.4%, our disability tax at 0.5%. Now, let me move this over a little bit. Let's look at, see, Social Security is 6.2%, 1.45% for Medicare, 2.4% for state, and 0.5% for disability. Now, in order to make these things usable, you have to change these into a decimal, right? So either move the decimal places 2 points to the left, 2 places to the left, or divide it by 100, because it does the same thing. So when you convert these, okay, in order to make them usable, something you stick in your calculator, 6.2% becomes 0.062, 1.45, 0.0145, 2.4, 0.024, and then the 0.5%, which is the one that kind of throws everybody off because there's a lot of zeros in there, is 0.005. All right, so remember to move that decimal place over so you can make it usable. So at this point, if I can read correctly, makes $45,600 a year. And I believe she has 4 withholding allowances, and she gets paid monthly. Make sure that's what it was, paid monthly. So her monthly pay stub is going to be, for her gross wages, is going to be that number divided by 12. Okay, so it's going to be $3,800 a month is going to be her gross wages before taxes and everything else is taken out. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is just going to bring that in. Okay, so the reason I'm doing this, let's tag in these rates here. So you're going to multiply each one of these decimals by her gross earnings that month to figure out what she has to pay. So in Social Security tax, it's going to be 3,800 times the 0.062. Let's make all these money just to so it look like something to us. You're going to do the same thing for the 1.45%. Same thing for the 2.4% for state tax, and then same thing for the 0.5% for state disability. So these are going to be the numbers you get. This times this equals this, 3,800 times 145 here. So this is what they're going to take out for Social Security, Medicare, state income tax, and state disability. All right. So those are our numbers there. Everybody kind of see how we did that? Pop up if I'm going too fast, if I'm not being clear, please. All right. Yell at me, do something. We'll chat up over here as well. Okay, but these are pretty straightforward. And that should be what we get for Social Security 235.60, Medicare 55.10, state income 91.20, state disability $19. And then, oh, they also give us a term life insurance here. What was that? Okay. In addition, to income tax, the state disability insurance, okay. 3681 for term life and 13571 for credit union and $20 United Way. So hush, leave me alone. My watch keeps talking to me. So they just give you those numbers. You can plug those in. Well, all right, they just kind of hand those to you. Now, here's where it's get messy, and this is in federal income tax bracket. So they give you, doggone it, wish it wasn't like that. Let me pull up the other one. Nope. And they also give you exhibit 9 too. Now, this is the way this works. We need to remember that she is making $3,800 a month. She gets paid monthly. First thing we do is go to exhibit 9.1 and we look under monthly or payroll period and how much each withholding allowance is worth. And that is $345.80. So I'm going to take $345.80 and I'm going to multiply that times 4. The reason I do that because they give us 4 allowances. So this is to reduce her taxable income. That times 4. Okay. So we have $1,395.20. All right. So we're kind of done with that. Then we move on to 9.2. We have weekly, bi-weekly, semi-month. Here's a monthly payroll period. If I remember right, she's married. So we're going to be in the married column right here. Okay. So I'm going to take my $3,800 and I am going to subtract those withholding allowances out because that is going to reduce her taxable income. So now we have another base of 2404.80. All right, so we're done with 9.1. We figured out what that is. Now, once we figure this, we go down here to 20, find out where 2404.80 rests. It rests over here at the top between 963 and 2550. And then they tell you she pays $0 plus 10% of her income over $963. So once again, I have $963. I am going to subtract the 963 out of there. So now we're down to $1,441.80. That is her federal taxable income for that pay stub. Okay. And they say she pays 10%. So I'm going to take this number right here and multiply it times 0.10 for 10%. And that should be what, $144.18. So after all those calculations, she should be paying $144.18 in taxes. Oh, I was wrong. Where did I go wrong, guys? She makes $45,600. Divided by 12 is 3,800. Make sure I didn't screw up here. I may have. Get rid of these extra ones here. Exhibit 9.1 was $345 and put your glasses on, Stephen, 80 cents. Ooh, $345.80. So everything changes because I typed in the wrong number. Human error, right? Now, once we do all the subtracting here, that leaves us with 145.38, which should count to what they are. Yep, That's exactly right, Jessica. It is easy to do, especially when you got these chubby fingers like me. They just want to just go all over the place. So it's not really super complicated to do problems like this. It's just kind of time consuming. You got to pull up the two different charts. You got to, and to be a little methodical on how you do it. The math itself isn't hard. It's multiplication. You have multiplication and addition and subtraction. That is, everything you have right there. Yeah, I do those small tablets. I don't know how you guys do it. All right. Now, somebody said something about 14. I believe she was talking about. All right, who is this? Was it Michaela was asking about these as well? So is there another one we need to go to, Michaela? I know we have the one with Three Stooges here that's a little bit of a pain.
Yeah, let's go over that.
That one? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm gonna go back to my spreadsheet here so I can do the math. All right, so we know Larry earns $315 a week. Curly earns $430, and Mo earns $565. And they are paid. Are we doing this by quarter, I believe? Yeah, first quarter of the year. So let's figure out what a quarter of a year is. So we have 52 weeks in a year divided by 4. That's where we get our 13 here for our 13 weeks. So let's figure out how much these guys make for that quarter. And this is how much those guys are grossing every 3 months. Or let's say every quarter, because it's a week more than 3 months. Because we actually have, some months are longer. So remember, there's 52 weeks in a year. So that's actually 13 weeks, not 12. All right, so our next step is they tell us the SUTA rate is 5.4%. I'm going to bring this down. Oh. Okay, 5.4%, 0.054. And I'm just going to multiply that out to give me what the SUTA rate was, which should be 221, 301.86, and 378. And of course, we add all three of those together to get the total since we're paying it to the company, right? I'm just kind of going over this. I know the numbers are right here. Now, the federal unemployment tax is, what is the federal unemployment tax? That is 6%. So we 0.0. So 6% minus the SUTA. So 0.06 minus what you paid for the state. That's where they get the 0.6%. All right, when we do the multiplying across, Here's your federal unemployment tax as well. $457, $33.54, $73.45. Oh, and it's only paid on the first 7,000. Same thing here. We're only paying on the first 7,000. And they tell us that in the problems. We need to make sure we're paying attention. So we know to not charge them on the entire thing. And finally, what was B asking us? So that gives us our first answer. This is how much the company is responsible for on their federal and state unemployment taxes. How much student food does the company owe for the second quarter of the year? All right. So once again, it's only up to the first 7,000. All right. We know, who is that? Mo has already met the $7,000 limit, so he's not going to pay anything. These other guys, 7,123, so 123, and they've made $40.95 the first quarter, $55.90 the second quarter. So we need to subtract those. To figure out how much you're going to have to pay in those taxes. Okay, so here is the wages that we get to base that off of. Copy that down here. And then we're going to do the same calculation. 0.054, 0.054. Leave a line here. And this is going to be 0.006. And the reason we're not using those because he already met the $7,000 cap. And then I'm going to add these together. And that should be 233.01, which is what they owe for the state tax. And 25.89 is what they're going to owe for the federal tax. So it all just becomes becomes the same operation over and over and over again. Yep. As I see your answer now there, Jessica. So, and these rates, I mean, these are, general math problems, but you'll find out these rates change for each company depending on how many unemployment claims you have. And then those are usually capped at so many, once you reach so many unemployment claims, they can't, the state can't charge you anymore. I don't remember what it is in Oklahoma. But that's how Oklahoma works it. So that's where your unemployment compensation comes in. If something happens and you need to file, this is where the pot, that money comes from. All right. Which other questions do you guys want to talk about? You will learn a lot more of that. I'm glad you're going to be in the accounting program. That's a fun program if you're into that kind of stuff. Alexis is looking at me like, oh, it's not fun at all.
I need help on all of it. All of it at this point.
all
Just
of it.
all of it.
All right. So what? Okay. So Alexis said all of it. We're limited on time, so we get to do all of it.
No, I need to work through it before I start asking questions because I want to do as many as I can.
Okay. Let me stop.
Before.
Let me stop sharing this screen so I can see who. I don't remember who had asked me that they said it was like, I don't remember which one it was under. Okay, I think it was Michaela Blakely. You're here. Michaela's here. You were talking about chapter 8 quiz, right? And you were going to ask about numbers 10, 11, 15, 17, and 18. Is that still on the table? What about you, Taylor? You got any opinions? Oh, Samantha, I didn't see this. Samantha said, where'd she go? I just lost her. Chapter 10 with the value of partial payments. Is that chapter 10 homework or quiz, Samantha? Quiz. Let's look at chapter 10 quiz. And you said it was, oh, the value of partial payments. Okay. Here's what you need to know about partial payments. The formula for figuring out the value of partial payments will be, where's my spreadsheet at? Let me pull it back up here, spread it out a little bit for you. Let's just find one here. You sure it was chapter, on the right chapter here? Chapter 10, that's simple interest and promissory notes. That's not going to be partial payment. Well, yeah, I think I thought I made it clear last week, Giselle, that we were going to resume this next time. Yeah, I'll be available tomorrow. Well, just so you know, if you're going to make a $4,000 partial payment on something and you're receiving a discount, the formula for that is going to be the amount of your partial payment divided by 1 minus whatever your discount is. So let's say it was 3%, 0.03. So that'd be 0.97. All right. In order to get the value of that, you're going to take this and divide it, not multiply, but divide it by this number, which is going to give you a higher number. Because if you think about it, it makes sense that if you're making a partial payment and you pay it early, the value of that payment, because the discount, is going to be more than the actual payment you're making. Does that make sense at all? What's that? Right here. There's Samantha, yeah. Does that make sense, Samantha, on how that works out? Honestly, no. I guess at this point I say, can you follow that formula though? That's the main part, is just be able, just take whatever it is, the 1 minus the discount, and divide that by there. You're going to get it. You should get a larger number than your payment, which makes it worth more. Okay. That's, That's the best way I can explain it. Hopefully, maybe someone else could explain it better. So if anybody has a better idea of explaining it, better way to explain it, please throw it in the chat for me. It's almost like a markup. I also realized that some people had an issue with your net price factors. Okay. I want to look at, let's say you get the multi-level discount. That's fine. That's what that ask your teacher button is for. Samantha. Now, some places, and I dealt with this when I was in like doing lubrication equipment and stuff for these different companies. Depending on how much you sold the year before would depend on your discount schedule. So like if you were just a normal guy selling their equipment as a vendor, as one of their vendors, you would, or as one of their, anyway, point being, you get like a 30% discount. And then let's say that if you sold more than $250,000 the year before, they would give you a 30% discount and an extra 20. And if you sold extra over $500,000, they would give you a 30, a 20, and a 10. And so what you see on these problems is the discount structure looks something like this, right? And that is not 30% plus 20% plus 10%. It's you take 30% and then you take 20% of what's left, then you take 10% off what's left. So the way that actually works is if something was cost $100, you would first off get 30% off that. Okay. Then you get 20% off what's left. And then 10% off what's left. So instead of being a 60% discount, you actually end up with almost a 50% discount because of the way they structure that. And then they get, and so far they ask what's called the net price factor. Well, the formula for that is that's 30%, 20%, 10%. So let's go over and look at it. Okay. We're going to turn these into decimals. So they look like, so we can actually throw them in the calculator. Now, first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to take 1 minus each one of these. Okay. And when you do that, okay, you're going to get 1 minus 30% is 70%. 1 minus 20 is 80. 1 minus 10 is 90. And then to get your net price factor, you take each one of these. Right? And multiply them together. Multiply one times the other straight across. When you do that, okay, that gives you a net price factor of 0.504. And so what the net price factor, when you hear the word price, if you multiply that times whatever they give you as a list price or a retail price, however they want to call it, that will give you your price. So if there is $100 list price on it, your price will be $50.40, which is kind of what we figured here. Okay, guys, which means your discount. Now, if you want to know what your discount factor is, you're going to take 1 minus this number again. And that's going to tell you what your discount is. So once again, $100. Do the multiplication again. And that means you're getting a discount of 49.6%. And once again, remember I said that's not 30, 50, 60%. The math doesn't work out like that. A 30, a 20, and a 10 will give you 49.6% discount. And the way you know you're right is both of these discounts should equal to 100% always. I know that's kind of a messy way to do it, but I dealt with this for manufacturers actually do this, because the more you, then the way it worked for us, the more you sold the year before, the deeper your discount was that year. So you got, so just as a regular, if you're just selling a product and you're just selling a little bit of it, everybody got 30% off. And so that actually gave the advantage to some of the bigger people, the bigger companies, like some I've worked with, that we sold a lot of their equipment. And since we sold a lot of it, we got all the deepest discounts, which means we could discount off list price a little bit more and be a lot more competitive than the smaller companies. It's kind of unfair, but it also gives you an incentive to sell more and more and more and more each year. Okay, so I know that was one of them here. Okay, on this chapter, was this chapter 10? Yeah, simple interest and promissory notes. You're going to come across this formula right here. Interest is equal to principal times rate times time. Okay, that is your base formula there. Interest is equal to principal times rate times time. That's where everything starts. Now, from here, I can go do a little algebra. See, there it is again. And figure out that my principal is equal to my interest divided by rate times time. You'll see here, rate is equal to interest divided by principal times time. And then your time is equal to interest divided by principal times rate. So if you have any three of these pieces here, any three of these four pieces, you can always figure out the fourth. Okay. You can always figure out the fourth. And instead of you having to do the algebra, they will give you the formulas in the book here. Time is one that always seems to be a little bit of a one that really gives people a hard time. Okay, so you also have maturity value here, which is going to be your principal plus your interest. And maturity value is also going to be something called maybe even future value, which means what is that worth after the interest has hit it down the road. So you could even be figured, you know, how much do you pay total on a loan? Well, it's going to be the amount of principal plus the amount of interest charged, right? If you're looking the other way, if you're investing into a bond of some sort, is what you pay for the bond, the interest is what they pay you to hold the bond. So the actual value of the bond at the end of the maturity value, and I'm pointing over at my screen like you guys can see what I'm pointing at, is going to be the principal plus the interest. So it'll be maturity value or future value. They use a few terms on what the situation is. All right. We got a few more minutes. Let's figure out who else has some questions on some of the. I know somebody's got a specific problem they want me to help out with. Oh, I stopped sharing. That's why I couldn't see it. Jesus, what a moron. You guys got to tell me when you can't see what I'm doing here, because I'm being an idiot. Remember I told you interest is equal to principal times rate times time, and time is going to be some sort of a fraction of a number. Okay, or it could be an actual larger whole number. Ordinary interest is done off 360 days. Exact interest is 365 days. Ordinary interest is kind of a trick from the bankers to get a little more money out of you. And then I told you that, like right here, there are formulas derived from that original formula, where as long as you have 3 of those 4 pieces, you can always figure out the 4th, no matter which one you're looking for.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Chapter 8 quiz, question 4. I can't figure out how to get the percent markup based on cost.
All right, chapter 8 quiz. You
Yeah,
said number 4.
correct.
All right, which one is that? Okay. You are the manager of a camera store. Use the advertisement to answer the questions. Round dollars to the nearest cent and percents to the nearest tenth of a percent. A couple of people had a problem with that as well. Is when they say tenth of a percent, they mean one place after the decimal. Some people, they did everything right, then the rounding was off. So just be careful on that. So the questions are, if the Power Shooter 18 is marked up by $66.50, what is the cost in dollars and what is the percent markup based on cost? So, well, the cost in dollars is pretty easy. We know, let's say Power Shooter 1800, they're charging $129.99 for it. Let me bring the spreadsheet. This is really, really inconvenient. I don't know why my screen is acting up. Probably operator error, right? So we got to figure if they're charging $129.99 for it, cost is $66.50. Get the actual markup in dollar figures, $63.49, because I subtract one from the other. Okay. And then they ask, what is the percent markup based on cost? Well, percent markup based on cost is going to be your markup over the cost. So your markup is this divided by the cost. And since this one is going to be the larger number, it's going to be over 100%. You get 1.04. Move the decimal place over to the right 2 places to turn into a percent. The opposite of what you were doing before. Round it to 1 place behind the decimal. So I look at that 7. I go next to it. That's a 4. So it's less than 5. So it becomes 104.7%.
I wasn't moving the decimal. That's what my problem was.
Yep. Remember to change it from a percent to a decimal, you move it to the left. You change it from a decimal to a percent, you move it to the right 2 places, just back and forth. And the same thing on, let's look at this one here. The Cyber Shooter 2400 has a cost of $78. What they charge it for? $199.99. The cost on it is $78. So to get the actual markup in dollars, you're going to be figure it's $121.99. Okay. Right off the bat, we're going to be able to see that this one has a little bit higher of a markup. So I'm going to take my markup divided by the cost, move it over and round it. Look at the 3. So I go next to the 3. That's a 9. That is 5 or greater. So that becomes a 4. So 156.4% is going to be your answer on that particular one. Right here.
That makes sense.
All righty. Well, let me stop this for just a moment. Let me make sure I have everybody plugged in so they get their Holly Thompson. Did I get you? Michelle. I got you. To Asia. Make sure I got your points for today. There are
Zamaya.
all right. I think I got everybody down that what was here, so that's a good thing. All right. Probably got. I understand. Work is work. I'm pulling double duty tonight. I'm spending my lunchtime with you guys, and I'm gonna go back upstairs and teach CLD until 10:30 tonight. Always fun. So we probably got time for another question if anybody has anything specific they want to look at. Sure, guys. I know this last week was really rough, but I did answer a lot of questions. I did answer a lot of questions on WebAssign, so I may have answered the biggest part of them. All right, well, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can work on here. Fourth week is not too bad. Because you were 8, 9, so it'd be, yeah, guys have chapter 10 do this Wednesday, and then 11 and 13 due by Sunday. Hit me up for the extensions. Really started on chapter 10, so I might have questions later that I'll email you about. Yep, Taylor, just, I said, hit me up, hit that ask your teacher button. That is the best way to do it. Because what I do is I try to go in there and then just start answering questions in the order in which they come. So just get the queue and I'll move through them as quickly as possible.
love you.
Love you too. Oh, sorry. All right, guys. Well, I am going to stop recording.